Hello there, and welcome to the Base Chopper Podcast. Today, I am your host, Anthony, and I am here with my co-hosts, Bobby and Austin.
Hello.
Hi.
All right. We'll start off the day by talking about the upcoming 1Ks and other tournaments that we will be either entering or visiting.
I'm pretty excited for the 1Ks. There's been like a pretty big lull in the local competitive scene since Gen Con. I haven't really felt like we've been able to scratch the itch of playing any kind of competitive Star Wars. So having something that has stakes is going to be pretty nice. I'm excited.
Quick call out: Bobby is a headless, faceless man right now.
Yeah, I'm Oz today. I'm moving and my office is in shambles currently, so it's not happening. I think my camera's, gonna throw up if it sees it. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. I'll probably at least I'm definitely doing the 1K at the local store. I don't know if I'll enter in anything else, like anyone else in our group. There might be something that, is around the corner that might be able to get a nice, easy win.
We haven't seen a ton of announcements for showdowns because they're the area kind of had gotten their kits and stuff pretty late, and not a ton of places have scheduled anything. I think it's only just the 1K in the Columbus area, so it'd be pretty nice to sling some cards. What are you playing, Austin?
I'm gonna play Boba Yellow. I'm sure everyone in the club will be surprised by that one.
You're gonna play the best deck?
Yeah, we're all probably playing Boba Yellow, but are there any other decks that you guys are considering? If you get really spooky coward scared and you don't want to play
there are decks
several other Boba Yellow players.
Yeah, there are decks I would consider that are both have unique positions and could be fun. But I haven't put the time in them. I think the Kylo Yellow deck is really interesting and probably could get a lot of people. Other than that, not really. I would play Bosk maybe. But it's been a while since I played Boba Yellow at a larger event, so I kind of excited.
The other decks that I would consider would be probably just the other two big ones being Double Green Palp and just Kira. I put a lot of time in Kira to figure it out, so that way I'd be better against it, and that
a better testing dummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really need you in the chat.
I got real good at it, but it's just not great. If you fight any other control, it's not great. You can kind of you have a good win percentage against Boba Yellow, but it's not fantastic. So the Boba Yellow players played enough of the matchup, they can usually get away with it. And then the tech that we've already built for Boba Yellow has really, really made that matchup a lot harder.
What about you, Bobby?
Definitely. Okay, so I've been wasting a lot of time playing Blue Palp deck. So that's the only other thing I would consider playing, but I don't think I'm going to be able to put the time in, especially with how soon it is and with all the real life stuff I've got going on. So I'll probably just play the big old bad. But I did actually get a showcase Boba recently, so there's basically zero chance I'm not playing it. But if I'm shooting for the stars, I'd play the Blue Palp deck. But I also really value peeing and yapping in between rounds and stuff like that. So
yeah. What are you guys playing? Boba Blue.
Oh no! That's for crazy people. I don't think that's something that I'm interested in. I think
what do you guys
at least the green control decks, you can at least kind of win quickly occasionally. You got cards that you can lock it up, and there's not a chance a local player is going to concede to being dead 7 turns before they're actually dead. It's kind of been the vibe from Star Wars Unlimited in the last since it's been released. So I don't think relying on them being locked out of the game is enough to justify that.
Quick question: what do you guys expect the 1K local scene to kind of consist of? Are there any? I actually have a feeling that a lot of set 1 decks are going to be around that maybe aren't traditionally talked about online, like the Han 1 leader and Darth Vader, for instance. I think are probably going to be.
Yeah, our
the
last
bean
one,
would be the big
there was a pretty large amount of the like janky other lead. Like it was like 60% Boba Fett decks at our tournament, and then there was like a couple Vader lists and some Hans, but that's probably similar comp. I would assume there'll be some folks actually showing up with Sabine, but I think the majority of the field, since we spread a lot of propaganda locally about how good Boba Fett is, I think it'll probably be a large portion of the meta. Definitely expect a decent amount of hard control decks. There's a couple guys been tearing it up with either, Blue Boba or like Iden or some of the Kira lists. So it'll probably be a little bit everything, but I would assume mostly Boba and the bigger control decks.
There'll be some Han Blue as well, for sure. And that seems like the deck people
maybe
like.
a Cat Bane or a...
People do love that deck, so I wouldn't be surprised. It's definitely fun too.
The Han Blue deck, yeah. Cool.
Just getting your powerful things out too early is always fun.
I'm excited for all the Boba mirrors in like the top.
Dude, we gotta spend like a week before grinding mirrors so we can have a plan that's not our janky sideboard plan.
We might see Yellow Han again. That might be another one. That was really popular at Gen Con. It still is kind of popular. So we might see some of that.
It's hard because I don't get to go to a lot of the other local shops and see what folks are playing. I think there's been kind of a drought in attendance at some of the events, but we have a solid crew at the shop we play at, and the
sweaty shop.
The sweaty shop will translate into a lot of folks playing. It should be fun.
All right, let's move on to spoiler time.
Well, are there any other events that you guys are playing in coming up soon? Any?
We're playing in a. We're playing in a PQ like the week after the 1K, which is
we basically set it up so that we could run a little practice in the local 1K and then go smash out the PQ. Pretty fun.
That's the week after, Rochester, New York, and that one I have a little different. I have a little bit of a different perception of what to expect there. I expect a lot of Boba Green and Sabine. And I think that Boba Yellow will still be a great choice. I think I also expect Kira.
Do you expect
underrepresented
Boba Green to be ECL or the new 30 life deck?
It's probably going to be the 30 life deck overall. I also think that it'll be mostly a 30 life deck that we see at the top tables, personally.
Yeah.
Right now.
I played a little bit of that deck recently. What do you think about it?
I think it's good. I think it's a good deck. It's really good.
How many cards were in your Boba Green deck?
50 cards in my main board. Yeah. I think that it does some cool things. I put so much time in. I feel really comfortable with Boba Yellow. I feel like all the things that the Boba Green deck is like kind of preying on, Boba Yellow is also winning those matchups. And I also feel pretty confident in the mirror. So I don't know. I think that you can make the argument that the Boba Green deck has an interesting angle into control decks because it's big. But it's not really enough to sway me to like full swerve. But I do think the deck is good, and it is also fun to like play all those bombs and those green bombs.
I haven't gotten to cast a lot of competitive green bombs, so I think that'd be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, for sure.
We're all probably running, the yellow deck in both events, regardless of the metagame anyway, so it's fine.
It's pretty likely that it's just Boba Yellow for the next 2 events for the season for us. I would love to change my mind in set 3, though.
Yeah, that'd be cool if there was, perhaps a compelling leader that we could put on the screen to talk about that might change our perception on what's going on. That's not a compelling leader. What are you doing?
No.
I said compelling. No. Come on. Compelling leader. A compelling one.
It's in here somewhere.
He's leaking all of the cards we're going to talk
There you
about.
go.
There he
There you
is.
Yeah. All right, I'll just be the one to say it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to interrupt. This is 20% of the meta in set 3, this card, leader. And the reason I can say that is Boba Yellow was briefly that at Con.
What does this leader do?
This leader is Count Dooku, and he likes to play Separatist cards from his hands and give them an exploit.
Austin, are there any playable Separatist cards that we've seen so far?
A bunch, and I was
what?
I would say the most notable ones right now. But I hope these won't be the only notable ones, but I would say the Count Dooku unit, who's blue from set 1, and the hand, which is the card that was spoiled alongside Count Dooku. That's just a spaceship that we can show later and talk about.
We'll show the hand later.
But,
the other thing, Count Dooku, when he flips, he has a 5/9 with Overwhelm. Flips on 7. On attack, the next Separatist card you play this phase gains Exploit 3.
Exploit 3 is a lot too. Like just exploit 1 and 3 across the board on your Separatist units is pretty ridiculous. The mana cheating or the resource cheating that you get from that kind of reminds me of, the other 2 playable resource cheat. That seems to be like the lane of leaders that are good. They're either really good at their thing that they do, like Sabine or Kira, and then you have like the resource cheating ones like Boba Fett, Han, and then now we'll have Count Dooku in set 3. So, but this seems like the most not tame but specific, I guess. Like restrictive as to which ones you can play, but it has the highest upside if there are enough competitive Separatist cards.
If you think about the like synergy, especially like typo based things we've seen so far, they haven't been like huge part of a meta. They've been like fine. Like it's like Leia and Tarkin and Cad Bane are like the ones that come to mind. But honestly, the best Rebel deck was Sabine. It was still a Rebel deck. It wasn't built around. I think that this ability is going to be a standout from all the ones we've seen so far in terms of typos.
It actually just makes you care about the units that you're putting in your deck, and you have to like kind of focus on it. So you really need the payoffs to line up. And I think we have 2 solid ones right now. There's a couple others, and like the enablers that you get to play for this kind of strategy are pretty nice. So far we have 2 units that when they die, they replace themselves with a battle droid token. There's the 3-cost one that makes a battle droid when it enters or leaves. So
it's actually 3. So there's the 2 that you've mentioned on the ground, and there's 1 in space as well.
Yeah.
There's also the double green card that lets you make bots as well if you want for 3.
I mean, there's so many. It's going to be so fun, and I think
incidental bodies laying around. This guy's also good with super laser tech
and he's potentially good with Admiral Modi, which is very exciting.
Wild, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how well those line up against like Power of the Dark Side and stuff like that. If you have enough guys that hopefully you can keep that so that they can't.
Yeah, ideally you're blanking the Power of the Dark Sides with these units that make tokens.
I also think his matchup will probably be good into Boba because these like mid game ambush units don't get as much value. Like you could argue that like they're healthier because they're just hitting like 1/1s usually. But I think that like Boba has kind of struggled against these go wide decks, even though we've seen very little of them so far. And then it's not only a go wide deck; you're just going over them once you sack them all, which is generally good against Boba. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Some really good 5-cost Separatist units is going to be really exciting for this. That's like your bread and butter things that you're cheating out.
It'll be interesting to see how much the flip turn matters with this guy as well. Because like 7's very long, but Overwhelm kind of adds to that, and then the 3 exploits.
Dooku has huge stats. He's like 5/9. 9 is a lot of health. That's like nearing Palpatine territory of amount of health, and that guy's a nightmare to remove from the board.
Yeah, he's between Vader and Palpatine, and he's probably more insane than Vader on the flip when doing what he's supposed to do. So
there's like good utility from the front side too, and all the cheating. I'm stoked to have this card around, and then approximately 2 weeks after his release, I'll be sick of seeing him. So
I feel strongly that he will represent a large portion, but I think that's a good thing when you compare it to right now.
Yeah, I think we definitely need more representation, but he is clearly based.
Yeah, based. All right, who's the next leader?
The next leader is Maul.
Hey,
Good one.
That's not a leader. That's not a leader.
Getting there.
So Maul, before I saw Dooku, I thought Maul's stats were crazy. But like,
Yeah, we
I know
were pretty hot on Maul as soon as he was spoiled.
He flips a turn earlier. But yeah.
I will say the design of like build your Maul deck is pretty exciting. Like every unit wants to go in this deck that they've seen that has the word Maul on it. So like the one that attacks 2 units on the flip turn, potentially trampling over tokens for 8 is crazy. So with ECL, obviously. I think it'll probably be played. I think it'll be played probably slightly more than like we see something like Kylo right now. I don't expect him to be
that the droid that we're gonna bring up later is also a really good thing because it's got a lot of power and it can go into little droids and do 4 damage to someone's base while killing a droid still.
Yeah, Maul's a pretty exciting leader. I think just like the cards you get to surround him with are going to be exciting. Giving Overwhelm to a bunch of stuff is nice. He's a big, thick guy to remove. Like 6 cost, 6/6 leader on their flip turn it's pretty big.
All of your units threaten to like deal Overwhelm, which is really, really good too. Like even after your leader flip turn. So
if you're playing like green with this as well, like getting to be able to get him out earlier or putting a barrage on him, it's also pretty sick.
There are going to be a lot of decks that are super soft to just suiting him up as well. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, Fallen Lightsaber is pretty good.
Yeah.
That'll be a nice one for that. Finding an actual home. Because of the 6 turn flip, how you're going to play these games before his flip is going to probably be a little tricky. And if he's seems like an aggressive leader, but I could also see him as just like a big mid-rangey, like kill your guys type of guy. So it's nice to be able to pair a decent leader with UCL. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah. It's also nice to have potentially different options. Maybe this will be finally the double red deck that we've been waiting for forever. See some aggressions finally being played. Probably not, but we can hope. I was just like her like face leader side is just the part that it's like I don't see this getting utilized a lot at the beginning. But like you're gonna have to wait to use that. So you're only gonna get her off with the flip turn and then maybe later. But if it's an aggro deck, you want to win by then.
So I will say that these swarm decks are already never getting initiative. Most likely.
Never.
Out there. So, but like the benefit of that is like you get to take more actions in your opponent. So if with the combination of like buffs, spells, and stuff, that you probably can catch up or leave ahead of them. But having a draw ability is kind of good if you know you're not getting initiative. So if you build your deck with that in mind, it's a little more interesting. I don't think she has the body to be a control leader, to be honest. I know that it's like a Krennic is similar, but that doesn't excite me enough to go that late with her.
No, I think if I'm gonna build a blue-green based control deck, I don't think I would start with Padme as my leader. And probably lean towards some of the other options we've got right now.
Yeah,
I'll keep an eye on her.
Really fits.
She got a lot of text.
It's hard because there's gonna be so many leaders with 3 sets out that there's got to be a lot of filler ones, and you really have to be doing something special to slot in as one of like the competitive tier leaders after 3 sets of leaders. Like what? I can't count that 20, 30 leaders somewhere around there. That we'll
she's a step closer into what I want to see from these aspects, but she's not exactly taking that. She's not bringing a new angle like you mentioned.
Yeah, I'll also say the draw so far in the cards that we've seen, the only one that's really played is Triple Dark Raid, and that's because it puts it in play as well. A lot of the other draw spells, I mean, are
Let's say
usually unplayable.
the best draw for that's comparable is Palpatine, but he's also doing two other things.
Yeah.
Killing something that wants to be killed.
And the leader flip is outrageous.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This leader flip is not outrageous, and it doesn't, have the
And there isn't
that Palp does.
There's no restriction either for like how.
Yeah.
This has a restriction of you need to have 3 units to be able to do the thing, which is really a lot.
It's card selection. It's like a little better than just straight up draw. It just is really reliant on Republic cards.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah,
that's
kind of a similar thing about Dooku. It's like relying on the Separatist cards, but I think the upsides of Dooku is a lot more impactful than just drawing a card.
It's so clear. Yeah, it's so clear that
I just don't want to get like people be like, "Wow, you thought Dooku was great, but Padme is bad. What's going on?"
No, it's so clear that like what he's doing is worth taking the risk on the typo synergies because he's like playing ahead of curve, and like everyone knows that the best leaders right now do the same thing. So.
If Padme had like Restore 2, I would be way more excited about her.
She deserves it. Credit clone. Cool. Who's next? I'm gonna say she's based just because of it's closer to where I want to be, but I don't actually expect her to.
Yeah, I think she'll never do anything.
I'm pretty waste on her.
Perhaps unplayable garbage, but it's fine. No, actually, I take it back. This is unplayable garbage.
This is really bad. Mace Windu. I'm
surprised this honestly isn't a starter deck leader.
I would rather play the starter deck leader over this.
Yeah.
Oh, and briefly, I would rather play Ahsoka than Leia, than Padme. For a coordinate,
really
like.
Way more impactful coordinate ability, yeah.
So Mace Windu, he will let you deal a damage to a unit, and then if that unit has 5 or more damage, you deal another damage to it, which is
so
really weird.
It only does damage to a damaged enemy unit.
Right.
Yes.
So, and you have to pay a resource to do that. Seems like a very specific anti-damaged unit thing. It's not enticing.
It's angled as a control leader trying to take advantage of decks that rely on ambush. That's really the best, because you don't really want to have to pair it with red removal spells, even though they're showing us a lot of those. In a competitive sense, you would just want to take it to an event where you see ambush guys and hope that you get there. I mean, I don't really feel like the leader flip when he's deployed as a 7-mana 5/8 and you deal 2 damage to all units that are damaged. That will sometimes just do 0 things. And I hope your 5/8 is enough to win the game.
I kind of wish he had like a keyword stapled to the backside too.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit more. He's also worse stats and worse abilities than Dooku.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
And doesn't have a keyword.
Maybe if you're able to bombing run into Mace Windu flip, it's enough to kill matters, but.
There is that lesser bombing run that does 2 damage for 3 that I think is probably better than bombing run at this point.
Yeah, are you guys thinking you would pair ramp with this or blue? Like, what would be your strategy to get to the end game, healing or ramp?
I think I would probably lean towards a blue strategy with this. You have like with like the green decks, the inability to heal effectively, you're like going to be behind on the board a lot of the time if you're spending a resource to ping a damaged unit, and not having, I don't think the most impactful leader flip is going to be enough to like just claw you out. I think you're going to need stuff like vigilance to kind of bridge you into that mid to late game.
I think
I'm thinking more of just like the force blue cards that have been printed. You have like, there's going to be a bunch more force units, so like you can play the new like making openings, I have the high ground, stuff like that. That'll also get you there that are better, but it's real hard. Both ways they just don't feel good.
I would say from like a design perspective, like he feels a little fresh, but he also feels like a baby of Vader and Kira. Like this is the second like kind of event based that we've seen, which I hope we see more.
I would rather play Obi-Wan than Mace Windu right now.
Oh, 100%.
And it's hard to justify choosing to play Mace Windu just because of the same set we have Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I'd rather play those like same colors. If we're playing both those colors, I'd rather play Obi-Wan every day.
Do we have any other leaders? I think this is a waste, unfortunately.
That's the last.
It's a waste.
Could we pair this with yellow at all?
Anything can use a little yellow.
Yeah.
Like the yellow card from the set that we're all very excited about. I know I'm excited about a specific yellow card in this set. Oh, there it is. Wow, R2D2. This card's awesome. It's a 2-cost yellow unit. It's a 2/4 Republic droid. And when it's played, you can discard a card from your hand, and then if you do, you get to search the top 3 cards of your deck for a card and draw it, and then the other 2 go on the bottom of your deck in random order. But it's a 2/4 for 2 that like actually has a relevant ability. That's like good stats.
You're excited to draw this for early game and late game as well.
Yeah. There's a card that's dead in my hand. Well, let me just pitch it and get a card that's not dead in my hand.
Yeah, you get to play a lot more like sideboard cards in your main decks. I mean, like combined with resourcing stuff, and
that's my favorite thing about this set so far is we get to be a little more modular, and this isn't the only card that shows us that. But also, want to I want to mention briefly, this enables discard synergies, which is not a lot of that in this game. Like enabling discard synergy. The payoffs also be better, but I think that we've seen glimpses of what Heroic is looking to do with discard piles.
You got like what Marauder and Home One as the discard.
Payoffs and now there's a Heroic spaceship that they've revealed for this set. That's probably not going to get played, but it draws a Republic card.
The Republic one.
This is good. This card's based. You keep showing Mazamata, however this name is. Pull that up. Let's talk about that for a sec.
Speaking of modular cards, this is the other one. This card is awesome. So I want to, So this is a 2-mana 0/4. He's double command aspects, and he is a Republic official. When you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit. If you do, search the top 4 cards your deck for a unit, reveal it, and then draw it. So I think people first you have to understand like how insane this is to not take an action to do. Like that you get to cheat this while you're playing another unit, and you're not just drawing a card, you're searching. That's crazy. It's like you just get recruit stapled onto like any unit that you
won't count. How is this card with Emperor's Royal Guard?
Emperor's Royal Guard. It's obviously the best play so far that we can think of in a Palpatine deck.
It's kind of wild that it has the official tag. That's nuts. I mean, it should have the official tag, but it's a great slot for this ability.
I kind of like it being a 0/4. I don't think it'll come up too much, but I like how it plays into the command spell. Like you can randomly just pop it to kill tokens. I don't know. Like that's cute.
Yeah, just having a 2/6 at that point.
Yeah, like meter. It's gonna fuel your late game. It helps bridge into the middle parts, and it keeps itself going by finding more units. And it's just a banger. This card's great.
Yeah.
It's base as hell.
It'll keep you from dying.
Probably. So based. It'll probably be like I don't know. I think the problem is Kiet is like so good. So I hope I can play both of my decks.
Yeah, it's nice that you have 6 officials that you actually want to play.
Yeah,
up to 9. There's like 2 other options. We have enough choices now where I don't think the official tag is going to be too hard to set up in the early turns. Maybe we'll get another official related payoff.
Yeah,
like that. So
I think it's also cool that like maybe we'll play him in a heroic deck one day. I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. I wonder how much Dooku is going to compete for metagame share with Palpatine. Wonder if it's just going to be built similarly or interesting one.
I don't think Palpatine's going away, but I do think that Duke, like I said, it's going to be mostly Dooku for a bit.
Yeah, I would imagine Palpatine's probably more hard control, and Dooku's more like unit control, soft control, because you're just like cheating out guys and doing that. You're not
Mostly a
really.
unit-based deck, especially adding something like this makes.
If you get to do the thing on your flip turn with Dooku, like
nonsense.
who's gonna have plans to that unless you're just main decking evacuate? Like who? Or even evacuates, but it has to be super laser blast, really.
Yeah.
Really want that evacuate to pop off.
Yeah, grab your evacuates now. Yeah.
They're like $2. Just buy them.
Yeah. What other cards do we have to talk about? Some pretty cool spoilers.
We touched on Invisible Hand earlier. That one's exciting. It's a 8-cost 4/7 ship with a bunch of text or tags. Separatists is the main one. It makes 4 battle droids when it comes into play. And then on attack is you can exhaust any number of friendly Separatist units and deal a damage to the defending player's base for each unit exhausted this way. So this is like the fattest thing that you can put in play currently with Dooku. And the amount of board presence and the ability to like... The issue with like the tokens is you can't... you have too many things to do your actions on. This helps solve that. Like consolidates all your tokens basically into one attack.
And gives you reach.
Valuable.
The reach is crazy.
So much reach. Like it's very similar to the Magic card around the same stats, cost, and abilities, and in limited that card is pretty unbeatable. So I assume this card will be of a similar trajectory and being cheated out early and making a huge impact on the board.
And also only a rare. Much better.
I'm willing to be convinced that this card is not played in competitive, even in the Dooku deck. But I would hope that it is. I hope
it's gotta be in the starting versions of these decks until we have more that come out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like like Bobby said, you're just cheating actions and getting a bunch of guys, and you're hopefully gonna flip on 7 and get this guy to cost less. So
yeah. He's flipping. He's coming out for 6 at the very least in this deck, most likely.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's pretty crazy to get a
6 or 2. You know, like, that's a ridiculous variance in cost. I don't know. It could cost 2, I guess.
You could also play like normal ramp as well. It's not just aristocrat like tokens. It's crazy how that when you combine those in your deck. Like, the ability to get these big bombs out every game is more consistent. I'm hyped.
Cool. Just so early.
I think it'll be a fun mini quest to see. Who can deal the most damage with its ability, because it kind of goes. There's like
that's a good pre-release challenge, I think.
Yeah, tapping my Dooku leader so I can get that 1 extra damage just to beat you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's move on to Zero the Hutt.
This is a cunning villainy unit. It's 5 cost 2/8. And when it's played for each opponent, you may exhaust a unit that player controls. And on attack for each opponent, you may exhaust a resource that player controls. It's Underworld. It's a Hutt.
I don't understand why this card's on here, but give us a feel.
We need more waste. We're getting too much based.
I know how like we say how based Leia is, but we still never play her. This is actually in good colors. It's in a villain card, so I think it's like worth noting how good it is to just exhaust anything, including a leader. The sticky unit, which I think that also like those are just like some of the like entry level good things about it, but it's doing something we haven't really seen anything do. Chopper. This is like reliably tapping down your opponent's lands.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. I'm really interested to see if like that's a lock that actually gets you ahead on the board. The reason I am like pretty skeptical because it's a 5 cost card and like we're playing so many bangers on our 5 turn.
It really competes with a lot of yellow 5s like Zuckuss and Cantina Bouncer. Kind of tough there.
Yeah.
This is a Twin Suns card. That's it.
You're a rat. This card
This
sucks.
is what this is. This is just what this is.
Just because it's worded that way doesn't mean it is. Like you can just
It's
have
what
one
it is.
opponent. You have one opponent every match, so you can target any of
That's
their.
true, but it does scale really well for Twin Suns.
Wow.
Why they printed this card was for.
Can we
Twin
talk about how
Suns.
much
That's
Austin hates Kid Adimundi?
Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
Just rip into him real quick.
The last card, waste, by the way. It's just so clear.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, this is a 5-mana neutral vigilance 5/7 Force Jedi Republic. It's got coordinate, and when he has coordinate, when your opponent plays their second card each phase, you may draw 2 cards. 5 cost 5/7 is decent stats. It doesn't do anything when it enters play unless your opponent doesn't have an efficient answer to the coordinate that you hopefully have established on board. Those are 2 qualifiers to get anything out of this other than the stats. You have to have coordinate, and they have to play 2 cards that turn. The coordinate is probably going to be answered maybe by a card, most likely by whatever they have on board. And then the second thing they play is probably going to deal with the second thing they do, which is probably going to be an event, is going to kill the enemy. You're not even going to get the trigger. It's not going to have coordinate. This card is just so bad for a legendary status.
It's going to be very contextualized how the meta game comes out. I can see a lot of like how the format looks where this card is very playable, but just like raw with the information we have now, it doesn't seem like he's homed. But I think there's potential for a lot of upside, especially in these like blue force-based control decks for that card to grow a lot.
Yeah, if this card shows up, it shows up in the last month and a half of the meta where all these games get super grindy, and he'll be like this weird bullet, and then some decks will main him because they want to really angle that way, but he's really just a bullet for that grindy meta.
I think he curves well into your Obi-Wan flip turn the next turn as well, if that is the leader that is the one.
If no one is playing the aggressive decks, then sure. Like if no one is playing the interactive aggressive decks,
but he does curve well into the turn where you're stabilizing.
I just like an actual force unit that is playable between the turns of 4 and 6.
There's not really any, are there?
No. So like adding something that you can have that's well statted is nice because there aren't many. If there are,
Ray and Kylo are the closest we've had. So.
Yeah, and this one has way better stats than for the cost.
And I think it probably has more of a relevant ability than Ray, the leader.
To be honest,
the unit.
I have a feeling Ki-Adi-Mundi will actually be played more in villain decks than hero. If you think about the 5 cost bangers that heroics are playing right now, like they're going to be playing like Wreckers and Pose and whatever. They're not playing this card.
Yeah, like
our dark side decks will play this card potentially.
Jeez, yeah.
They will play this card in their Jedi decks, which I'm excited to see actually maybe be a thing. Maybe. Finally.
Sure. We'll see.
Maybe.
God, I cannot wait to play more Boba Yellow Mirrors in set 3.
Yeah, exactly.
At least they're fun, you know?
The art is really cool, though. I love this art.
Yeah, he's dope.
Thanks.
I'm going to give this one a temporary based.
Oh, it's waste. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
Bobby?
I think he's based, but it's
Hell
fine.
yeah. On to Wartime Profiteering.
This card is exclusively, for the
What does it do?
resource. Okay, it's look at the top card of your library equal to the number of units that were defeated this phase. Draw 1, put the others on the bottom in a random order. Basically, just for your Super Laser Blaster and Boba Blue. That's pretty much it. Cool. Next topic.
Well, I think you could. It's also like actually designed for an exploit deck. I don't think it'll be played in this deck though. But yeah, I agree. Boba Blue, Super Laser Blast, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's pretty waste.
Yeah, I think the situation that it is for it is based.
You'd probably rather just play Enticing Reward because it's more reliable.
Well, it's like nice to have the follow up option. I think, and the selection for the thing that you need the next turn afterwards, and getting any card kind of nice instead of just non units. You can like curve your Laser Blast into Avenger pretty easily.
Next card
is
bases? A base.
Owl City, the 26 health vigilance base. Each leader unit you control gets +0/+1.
What are the current decks that play a blue base?
Palpatine, Palpatine, Han 2, Palpatine, and like some double blue decks that are so I would say blue Boba, some double blue decks like Iden and Bray. Like more like late game decks.
So most likely it'll be in Han blue decks of those. That seems like the deck that's the most interested in an extra help on their leader.
I think that they would love this.
Yeah,
it's really frustrating. Their stats on their leader flip turn are not very great.
I mean, he flips a 5 into the 3/6. Not awful.
3/7 for you don't really care about the 4 extra health on your base for something like that.
Yeah. This is insane. It's insane with the Obi-Wan leader. So I'm pretty sure that's the best double blue deck after this set.
Obi-Wan still based.
Yeah.
Make him a 5/8, 4/8?
4/8 Sentinel on 6 is so good.
That's juicy.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's cool. I'll just say I think it's better than the yellow base. That's similar for your power.
Oh yeah, giving it +1 power.
Giving your leader stain power is super exciting. It's the same health, I think.
It's weird because you don't have any other. It's like most of the time it's going to be one of these bases or 30 health base unless you're green. Then you have actual choices. So it's just like, does my deck actually care about this in construction? Right. And it's easier to make that gauge.
It does if you're playing Twin Suns, and that's about it.
Okay. That's the last time we're ever talking about Twin Suns on the podcast again. It's over.
Well, I think it's supposed to bridge. It's supposed to, from a design perspective, if the front half of the leader is like a little more overpowered, and they'll like make the unit side a little less good. So this is supposed to bridge that. So you can keep up with leaders that are exactly. So we need that bridge for your deck.
Health. Yeah. Have the green base, another green base that you can choose from that's actually good.
They rolled their 30-sided die on this one, and they got a 24, so that's a pretty high roll, I think.
Droid
to me, I don't know.
When you deploy a leader,
2 droids when you flip your leader, for the cost of 6 health.
I wonder if this card is the sole reason that they have so much hate for tokens already revealed. I wonder if they started early, like with this card in mind. I think the decks that were already crushing and were the beatdown without ECL could consider this because those are the decks that really want units to stick because they can pump them because every unit is like more than what it turns out to be. So I think like Boba and Kylo are good examples. Like Kylo sticking units is not just a 1/1; it's going to hit for at least 3. And obviously, you guys know how threatening any unit is in a Boba deck. So if we see more things like that, they're just generically good in that respect. Maybe this is good there.
I also imagine that this is probably great in Count Dooku, like a double green version.
I will try it, but it
makes sure exploit 3 into less irrelevant text. But
yeah, but he flips on 7, and like I don't want to spend all my time fair ramping, for my resource row. I want to spend all my time earlier exploiting for my.
Yeah, I'm trying to cheat.
So so I don't know that I'm actually going to like want to play around that flip turn as much in the Dooku deck.
You guaranteed things to exploit on your flip turn if they like wipe the port pre.
I'm worried that I won't have the. I don't want to take that risk against some of those better aggressive decks, really. So I'm worried about that.
Surviving a Sabine is really hard at 25, and now you're surviving at 24, and you're already losing a lot in those in the Boba deck or not Boba, the Palpatine deck. The double green Palpatine deck's already losing to that matchup, so it's definitely a hard ask currently. Play this. I hope that we get a really good coordinate aggro leader that's not pattern. They would love it. It would be way more exciting
than the current exploit leader.
Well, can we get one? Because we have 2 greens already. 2 green heroics.
We have 1 green heroic. The second green heroic
is
is
like a decent base for Ahsoka too.
Yeah, you can play this. You can play this on any. It doesn't have to be another green leader.
Yeah.
There's a green heroic that we've seen on
Speaking of green leaders, last week at our weekly event, we all played some pretty ambitious deck choices from our wheel. Austin, you had a green leader.
All right, so y'all know I got Boba heroic from set 2. I paired him with blue, and I had fun. I don't play these colors a lot. The way I approached my deck selection, well, more like my deck building, was I looked at all the cards, and then I realized that the person I have a crush on, K2D Maddie, built like a good version of the deck. So I just played his deck and changed maybe 10 cards.
He really has a crush on someone else, though.
Oh yeah, does he? But I think I have some insight to say how to play the deck. A learning experience for me was that home 1 is such a essential card for this kind of strategy, and I didn't really value it as much because I have kind of an aggro deck brain in this game right now. So I didn't really respect that I could get there, but this deck can really get there. Sentinels are insane. You can get to the late game, but you really need that hammer late game. Otherwise, your aggro decks or faster decks you might be versing, they are going to be more inevitable. They stick a unit, it's scary for you. You have to close the game. The other notable thing about this deck is the Obi-Wan Luke is so fun. I wish I was playing more decks. Luke.
No, those cards are super fun.
They are so fun to play together. Especially when
it's cunning.
Well, exactly. Especially when you don't play against bounce effects. Unfortunately, that's we all feel that's the best deck. So we don't find ourselves playing that strategy right now because we don't feel confident. But it's really fun and probably will be good for a long time if you feel confident against those decks. So I love Luke and Obi-Wan. They're insane cards. Oh, also the Shielded Sentinel was really cracked. That card, seeing my opponent's face every time I played that card was just...
The Village People?
Yeah, Village People was amazing.
Yeah, let's go.
It's
card rocks. It's so hard to get through. It's wild.
I wanted, whenever I play Ewing, I want to play Akbar, but he's just not doing it for me. He's never bad.
That's and there's never been a card.
Yeah, I think he'll get better in set 3. I just wanted to have that bullet in my Ewing deck just in case. The leader, okay, so a little bit about the leader specifically. Your ambush units are insane. The stun units are insane. The thing that I noticed about him that I'm really attracted to, but I don't really know if I can get it to happen a lot now or later, is he gives all of your units +1/+0 on the flip, as long as they have keyword. So the most interesting thing to me when I was looking at a deck was red 3 and red, giving all of your heroic units great. That means you're getting double buffed. So I was also interested in Wedge briefly. I was going to play a vehicle version, a swarm vehicle deck, because he gets all of your vehicles +1/+1 and it also ambush. So they would all have keyword. I really wanted to set up that flip turn, but it was good enough to just deal with these crazy sentinels. It's so crazy how you can turn the corner on the flip if your leader stays alive. I'm hoping that he'll be able to be played with tokens in the next set for similar reasons, if that flip turn is more reliable. Red 3 on the clone troopers is really crazy. This guy's flip turn. Just that free buff is insane. My sideboard, I wanted to play a Adelphia behind that card as a Ewing target, and I wanted to do a bounty strategy. It happened once, but everything else is pretty generic. Don't take tech out of your deck. Don't take home 1 out of your deck, no matter how short you think the games are going to go. My advice.
What was your record, Austin?
3-1. Lost to Kylo in the finals.
I played the loosest Gideon deck you've ever seen. I laid out 4 or 5 different Gideon decks throughout the time before our weekly event, and none of them seemed like they were doing anything much better than the other leader color combinations I could pair up. Like a kind of built like a blue-green control deck, built a double green deck, and then I kind of just wanted to play with some of these red cards because I haven't really gotten to experience them, and I wanted to play what is that 4-mana card called? Remnant Reserves was the card I wanted to play the most with Gideon because I was curious as to how reliably I would be able to draw 3 cards with it. So I built kind of like a goofy Imperial synergy deck and put some fine cards in my deck. Crosshair was a card I kind of wanted to try. It wasn't very good, but Remnant Reserves was impressive, and I think that I would kind of like to try that in some other decks, even in like the sideboard as a grindier plan, because consistently building your deck in a way where you get to draw 3 is nice. But outside that, this deck was unplayable, and no one should ever look at it something like this again.
Yeah, Remnant reserving. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What was your record?
I went 2-2.
It was a record.
Yeah.
Remnant reserving and hitting a record, or sorry, not a record. A crosshair must feel so bad. So yeah,
it was horrendous, the targets at. But like, sometimes you get to like hit a Vader and a Palpatine and like some unit you can resource. So most of the time, the unit you can resource was Crosshair. So not too bad. I had a couple games. I did win a game with Crosshair where my opponent didn't kill it, and I got to pump it a couple times and kill them with it. But that could have been literally any unit at 4 mana. So
I imagine that definitely trying again with more bombs would be just a couple more bombs would be exciting.
It's just like the leader wasn't too exciting. Kind of hard to build around. It flips on 5 for barrage, but
I've built every color Gideon and played some games other than red. The thing that draws me to him is the unit side. We've seen it more in set 3, but so far in set 2, the overwhelm is really cool on a 5+ split. The front half of the leader is
textless.
It reads as it's supposed to be good, but when you play the game,
it's tough to find those kinds of trade ups.
Yep.
So, yeah, not too exciting. What about went 2-2. What about you, Anthony?
I had to play this monstrosity of Bo-Katan. I started out not with this version. I have a different double red version that I started out with. But with the red version, I wasn't playing timely. I wasn't playing the good green cards that I have, which timely intervention. It's I want to play more ECLs. It felt like a lot of this, but the Mando. Oh, speaking of which, Night Owl is not a smuggle card. That is extra text you don't care about. It is a swoop racer with the Mandalorian text. That's what you care about with this card. You want to play it on 3 as much as possible. I was because you want to be able to give it either the blade or just keep it alive so that way it gets buffed. The constraints of Bo-Katan's ability that you need to attack with a Mando is pretty hard currently. You can get it off, but it's just there aren't enough great Mandalorian cards, and a lot of them have weird text. The 4/5 rare one here. Her text is you have to have her upgraded to do the ability, which is really annoying and very rarely happen because upgrades weren't as popular and great as they thought they were going to be. And then the clan is also another issue with that, where it's it has raid 3, that's real cool, but it only gets overwhelm when it's also upgraded, and it's right.
Yeah, that makes it a really awkward ECL target, huh?
Yeah, it's nice because you kill a thing, you can kill some leaders, but I'm not getting the extra value off of it, and it's just it makes it a lot harder.
I respect you greatly for building this deck and not playing Poe or Wrecker. Kind of great.
Yeah,
it's just I wanted to go with the Mandalorian theme because it's what I have. I
think my favorite part about your deck, Anthony, is the absolutely garbage cards that you were asking for in our Discord chat. Does anyone have Night Owl skirmishers or
I didn't ask about that.
cards
I
I've
saw
never
that-
heard of before? Like throughout the week, it was pretty fun.
The double red ones, which were the Chaos of War and like Keep Fighting, and then like a Rally Cry, which I tried. This is the red version that I tried on Carablast for a bit. That like was like also fine, but
what was your record?
I also went 2 and 2, but it was
Wow. Austin
not
really
great.
came out on top.
This week Austin came out on top.
And me and Anthony did the worst. So my deck was definitely the worst. So I'm gonna get the first spin.
Fair. I'll allow it. More chance for bad things.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Click spin. Oh, don't do this to me.
Oh, we were so close.
This isn't much better, but I'll take it.
Hey, you could do some cool draw things, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. I guess I get to look forward to that next week.
All right, Anthony.
Give me someone good. Give me someone fun and exciting. And okay, I have to think a lot now.
Speaking of fun and exciting.
Oh,
these are gonna be tough.
he's at least yellow.
At
This
least
helps a
he's yellow.
I gotta play with good cards at least.
He's about to show up with his double yellow Boba deck with an unplayable.
Yeah, oh my god! Don't you dare!
It's gonna be the Hondo Tarkin deck all over again.
Play red. That'd be like the weirdest thing.
We'll see what happens. What is Austin gonna get though? Preferably Finn.
No.
Ooh.
Okay.
It's not even a fake leader. Okay.
Yeah, I told you before the pod that like Kylo shouldn't be on this wheel, and here it is.
Here you go. It's off the wheel now. All right, cool. We'll have fun beating our cheeks next week.
You're welcome. Excited.
That's okay. Kylo's at least very predictable in what he wants to do, so you just gotta survive him.
He's on the aggression card, so I'm gonna build a flavor deck and play double red.
Love to see it.
Hell yeah. Oh.
Cool.
All right. That has been our weekly podcast. Any closing thoughts on anything you guys want to say before
I'm
the
so
next
excited to
podcast?
play my
comes up?
Andor deck. Let's go.
I've been really enjoying this. It's been fun to be creative with other decks and just like experience cards and combos and play patterns that I don't put a lot of time into. That's been a little more eye-opening for me. So,
Yeah, I definitely enjoy that part. Building so we're not just playing, top 3 decks every week. Because, we play those a lot all the time. It's a nice thing to mix it up with something a little silly.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's making me a better player in a weird way too. It's understanding like what's possible with other cards. So
definitely helping like when we get to play limited again, when we get a draft. That'll be nice. We'll have more knowledge of good.
And by the time we're through this
Strange.
wheel, we might have, set 3 leaders to add to it.
Oh yeah, we'll have like 18 or 16 leaders to add to the wheel.
Weeks and weeks. I can't wait till I get to play Mace Windu on a Friday. It's gonna be tight.
Gonna huck to that guy.
Okay, anyway. Well, thank you everyone for listening. I love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks.